This is London. His Majesty King George VI.
Let us remember the men in all the services, and the women in all of the services who have laid down their lives. We have come to the end of our tribulation, and they are not with us at the moment of our rejoicing.
I think most of us remember the movie King's Speech. 75 years later, at exactly the same time, the King's eldest daughter, Queen Elizabeth II, broadcast her address marking the anniversary.
His message then was a salute to the men and women at home and abroad who had sacrificed so much in pursuit of what he rightly called a great deliverance. The war had been a total war. It had affected everyone, and no one was immune from its impact. Whether it be the men and women called up to serve, families separated from each other, or people asked to take up new roles and skills to support the war effort, all had a part to play. At the start, the outlook seemed bleak, the end distant, the outcome uncertain. But we kept faith that the cause was right. And this belief, as my father noted in his broadcast, carried us through. Never give up, never despair. That was the message of VE Day. I vividly remember the jubilant scenes my sister and I witnessed with our parents and Winston Churchill from the balcony of Buckingham Palace. The sense of joy in the crowds who gathered outside and across the country was profound. Though while we celebrated the victory in Europe, we knew there would be further sacrifice. It was not until August that fighting in the Far East ceased and the war finally ended.
Celebrations very different, of course, in 2020, with the celebrations subdued because of COVID-19 lockdown restrictions. Euronews reporter Trent Murray has more.
75 years ago, as you mentioned, Britain and its allies accepted the unconditional surrender of Nazi Germany, and that 75th anniversary this year was meant to be a very big occasion here in Europe. But of course, because of coronavirus lockdowns, much of the public fanfare that was expected unfortunately couldn't go ahead, but it didn't stop the commemorations entirely. The day started with Winston Churchill's speech being broadcast across a number of radio stations, the one that he gave back on that day in 1945. Prince Charles and Camilla as well led the nation in 2-minute silence. And then the Queen tonight, as you mentioned, addressed the UK and the Commonwealth. And she did draw parallels in her speech. She said it was important to keep the faith, never give up, and to never despair, echoing the words of her father, who also said that during his speech. And she said that whilst we can't celebrate in the way we would have liked to, we can remember from our homes and our doorsteps. So we are seeing that tonight across much of the UK as they do come together to pay tribute to those that were lost in the war, that golden generation.